What I want to do now is I want to move in to the 5 non-negotiables for real estate success. Non-negotiable number 1 is you need to develop a business mindset. Now, let me ask you this. When you get into real estate, I believe there's 2 freedoms you wanted. You know what they are? I think you wanted freedom of money and you wanted freedom of time. You probably get into real estate because you're thinking, hey, guess what? I want to earn more money. Or I just want to have more time off. Or I want to have what? I want to have both. That's right. Well, here's what I find. After 20 years of doing this, I have found that most agents don't have either. No, they have handcuffs on, you know what I mean? And as they want to do more business, what do? They just work harder, work harder, work harder. They start working weekends. They work most nights. They start missing family dinners, you know what I mean? Maybe events they should be at, and they're always on their phone. They have no freedom. But I look and say, if you're going to take a risk, and if you're going to be a business person, wouldn't it make sense that if you're going to take the risk and be a business person, that you need to have a substantial reward? And what would the reward be? It should be freedom of money, right? Freedom of income and freedom of free time. Well, then how does that happen? It happens through delivering significant value to the marketplace. Let's be honest. Money, ethically, okay, is an exchange of value. In other words, if we go out into the world and if we provide significant value to the marketplace, then the marketplace would be willing to pay us for that value. If we're not willing to provide significant value, then guess what we got to do? We got to keep working harder, working harder, working harder, working harder. Every day we got to go find leads, find leads, find leads. Why? Because nobody's supporting us. People aren't sending you referrals. They're not doing business with you again because they don't see value in you. So the 3 purposes of a business, in my estimation, is number 1, so you can have freedom financially so that you can enjoy the life that you want to live. Number 2, you can have the amount of time off, freedom of time that you want to have, and we get that by bringing tremendous value to the marketplace. Non-negotiable number 2 is know where you are right now. Think about this, everybody. Let's say you were in Toronto. And let's say you wanted to drive to Chicago, and you've never made the drive before. You really didn't know how to get there. And that's no different than what we're doing here. We're trying to decide, where are you right now? You got to make a decision on where you want to go, and then we get to design a roadmap to get you there. That's what growth is, okay? That's advancing our business in a direction that we want to go. But if you wanted to go to Chicago and you didn't know you're in Toronto, if you didn't know where you were right now, would it be possible for you to get to Chicago or to create a plan? Probably not. So the first thing we have to do is know where we are. So if you go to your workbook, you're going to see in your workbook you have a business assessment in your workbook. Now, when you go down, you're going to see there's 20 questions that I have put into your workbook. And now what I want you to do is I want you to quickly, we'll give you a few minutes, I want you to rate each question, okay? 0 if you're not doing it. So let's say you're not doing it, you haven't been involved in that, then you put a 0. But let's say well, I do a little bit of that, I'm decent at that, then you put a 2. But let's say you think you have it mastered, that you're great at that particular activity or that part of your business, then you put a 5. So what I want you to do is I want you to rate each area if you would, and then I want you to add them up, and I want you to put the total number at the bottom, and I will be back with you in a couple minutes. Welcome back. Well, how did you do? Did you rate yourself in all the areas? Did you add the numbers up? Now, after working with thousands and thousands and thousands of agents that we've had do this test, well, we have discovered that if you're 50 or below, you're relatively ineffective at running a real estate business. Now, that doesn't mean you're not a great salesperson, doesn't mean you're not doing well financially, but what it means is you're just ineffective. It means you could do better. Now, if you're 51 to 80, that means you're somewhat effective. You're doing generally pretty well, and that's where most people fall, we have found. If you're 81 to 100, that means you have a highly effective real estate business, which means you're probably producing substantial results with the least amount of time, money, and energy spent. So now, let's move on to the 4 phases of a real estate career.